A parallelogram must be a rhombus when it's, so we're looking for a property that is specifically true of rhombuses. So if we think back to our quadrilateral chart that talks about parallelograms, we know that we have three special types of parallelograms. We have rectangles and we have rhombuses. And all the properties of a parallelogram will be true of rectangles and of rhombuses. But there are specific properties of just rectangles and specific properties of just rhombuses. And these are the properties that we're looking for here. What are specific properties of just a rhombus? In addition, if the quadrilateral has the properties of both a rectangle and a rhombus, then it makes it a square. So we need to go through all of these options, and if you look back to your parallelograms checklist chart that we memorized during that unit, you'll be able to see these. So the diagonals are perpendicular. This is a specific property of a rhombus. So if we draw to try to visualize a rhombus, if we visualize it as a way to help us remember, with four sides being equal, we'll see that those diagonals are congruent. Not congruent, perpendicular. The diagonals are congruent is a specific property of a rectangle. We can look up at this green drawing that we have of the rhombus, and we'll see that the diagonals are not congruent to one another. But if I were to draw a rectangle, we can see that those diagonals definitely look more congruent. So again, these images aren't perfect. It's just another way to help remind us. So opposite sides are congruent. This one could be tricky because this is true of all parallelograms. So this is a property that would fall under all parallelograms. So this is true of a rhombus, but it doesn't specifically make it a rhombus. It just makes the shape a parallelogram. So I could have drawn any shape that's not a any parallelogram that's not a rhombus. Let me draw a drastic one that would really show this difference. And we'll see that the opposite sides are congruent even though the shape is not a rhombus. And consecutive sides that are perpendicular. This is a property specifically, again, of rectangles. The consecutive sides being perpendicular means that the angles are all right angles, since the lines intersect that are next to each other, and those lines that are next to each other create right angles. Therefore, the answer is option number 1.